Good morning again. So today we'll be dealing with relative humidity. And in relative humidity, we use the instrument called sling psychrometer. The sling psychrometer is composed of two thermometers. This is a thermometer right here. Now you'll see that the thermometer has graduations just like any other measuring device, like the ruler has the graduations. The graduations are the lines with numbers. Those are the graduations. At the bottom of the thermometer, you'll see here the bulb. And inside the bulb of the thermometer, we have this red liquid, which is actually alcohol. Now, the one that they used before had a silver liquid inside. That's a mercury thermometer. So, in school, it's already banned because mercury can cause health hazards. So all of the thermometers that we are using now in school are alcohol thermometer. Again, this is the bulb of the thermometer. Now, when it comes to the sling psychrometer is composed of two thermometers. The first one has a wet bulb, and then the second one has a dry bulb. So this is how they look like. And this is the dry thermometer, and this is the wet thermometer. This instrument is used to measure the relative humidity and dew point in an area. If the relative humidity of an area is 100%, that only means that the temperature is in the level wherein it's making the air carry its maximum amount of water vapor. So, when the humidity or when the relative humidity is 100%, that means the air is carrying the maximum amount of water vapor that it can carry. And when that happens, droplets of water form. And that's the same thing that happens with your cold can of soda. When you remove this from the refrigerator or from the freezer and you put it on a table, you will notice that it would start sweating and producing its droplets of water. The area around the soda can is experiencing 100% relative humidity, because the water vapor in the air turned into droplets of water. Now, you will notice here that we have a weather balloon. They send this weather balloon to the upper troposphere in order to determine the relative humidity up there and in order to determine if it will be raining or not. In using also satellites and Doppler radar and this weather balloon, we have an almost accurate prediction of weather on a day-to-day basis. Now, of course, if the relative humidity close to the ground is 100%, it doesn't mean that it will be raining. It only means that dew forms or water vapor turns to liquid water. But up there, if the relative humidity is 100%, then it would turn to precipitation. So, today I'll be showing you on how to do a sling psychrometer at home. Now, that is, if I can find my cotton. I'll just find it here. Okay. Oh, there it is. There's the cotton. Okay. Now, and then the next thing that I'll look for is a rubber band. This one. So this is the rubber band and this is the cotton. And I have two thermometers. Just like what I said earlier, a sling psychrometer is composed of two thermometers. Okay? This is the first thermometer and this is the second thermometer. See that? Now, what I will do is that I will tape them together, but put a distance between them. Now, this is just for safety, okay? So that they won't be flying away. Now, the first thermometer is the one that I will make it with the wet cotton covering its bulb. So it will be the wet bulb thermometer. So here it is. We'll open it, stretch it a little bit, wrap it around the bulb of the first thermometer. Use the rubber band to attach it. Okay, so this is now the bulb of the thermometer with a cotton, but it's not wet yet. The next thing that I will do is that I'll be reading the temperature in the two thermometers. Okay. Oh, I have to remove the tape again. Now, I forgot to position them so that in a way I can read the temperature properly. Okay, I'll put it down again and then get another good tape. Now, when you put them together, make sure that the temperatures are readable. Okay, so I'll tape them. I will tape them at the bottom. So that was my mistake earlier. So now I'll tape them at the bottom so that it will not be covering this one here. So I have to show it to you. So it will not be covering the readings. So you'll see here, you will see here that those are the lines, and the current temperature of the dry bulb, this is the dry bulb thermometer, it doesn't have a cotton in it. The current temperature is about 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Write it down, 24 degrees Celsius. Okay? Now, the other one is the same, 24 degrees Celsius. Okay? Now, we will now wet the cotton because we call it a wet bulb thermometer for that reason. Okay? So, I will get this thing here. And then now we'll be pouring water on it. And now it's definitely the wet bulb thermometer, right? What was the original temperature of the two thermometer again?
24.
The 24. Now, the next thing that you will need to do is to sway them into the air for 30 seconds. Okay, help me time. Shanna, please time 30 seconds when I say begin. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Then you just have to do it like this.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Okay. Now, we'll be reading the temperatures now. Now, you have to read the dry bulb thermometer first. So, this is the dry bulb. As you can see, it doesn't have any cotton at the bulb. So, it's called the dry bulb. And what's the temperature? 20, 25. 24 or 25. Okay, almost 25. Okay? Now, let's see the temperature on the wet bulb. This is the wet bulb thermometer here. Let's see the temperature. What is it? 23. Okay? So I need you to write that down on your paper. Any paper will do. So the dry bulb is 25, right? And the wet bulb is, what is it again? Say it. 23. So dry bulb is 25 and the wet bulb is 23. Now, let's check that. Now, we'll be using this. This is the chart which I have to show. This is the chart that we'll be using. It will show up. Okay. This is the chart that we will be using to determine the relative humidity. On the left side, you will see the title, dry bulb temperature, right? On this side here, on the next top side, difference between the wet bulb and the dry bulb. Now, how do we do it? The wet bulb is, what's the temperature of the wet bulb again? The 23. What is the temperature of the dry bulb? 25. Okay, so this is degrees Celsius. And what is the difference between the dry bulb and the wet bulb?
2 degrees Celsius.
Very good. It's 2 degrees Celsius. Now, first step to get the relative humidity. Dry bulb temperature is 25. Do you see that? Now, I'll get the other meter stick here. So the dry bulb temperature is 25. So, since there's no 25 in this chart, and it was like a little bit below 25, right? Anyway, so we'll change it to 24 because it was a little bit lower than that earlier. Okay, so what's the difference now? Just 1. Let's check it again. Okay, so it was a little bit below 25 anyway. So let's do the 24. So the dry bulb was 24. Okay? Of course, you can use other charts, the one with the 25. Now, the dry bulb is 24. And what's the difference now? 1. Now, you make them meet. 24 and 1,
92.
it's 92%. That is the relative humidity. That's why it feels a little bit warm in this classroom because the humidity is quite high. It's 92%. Do you get it? Okay. Now, let's do it again. In science, it's not enough to do it once. So, 30 seconds again, guys. Ready? Count it. Shena. Oh, before we count, let's get the temperature again. Okay, so let's start with the dry bulb. What's the current temperature?
20.
Oh, okay. What is it?
24.
24. Okay. 24. Okay? And then for the wet one, you have 21.5. Okay, but let's make it 22. Okay? Now, let's now use the sling psychrometer. Ready? 30 seconds. Ready? Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Okay. Now, we have this. Now, let's do it again. I need you to write down the temperature of the dry bulb. So, this is the dry bulb right here. And then I'll go to the end. What do you read?
24, almost 25.
Okay. 24. Okay? Because our chart only has by 2s. So, we'll use the 24 because it did not reach 25 anyway. Okay? But is it almost 25?
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll still use the 24 for this time. So write down 24. Now, let's go to the wet bulb. What's the temperature?
21.
It's 21. Okay, now let's do it again. Okay, where are my good markers? Okay. So tell me again the temperature of the dry bulb.
24.
It's 24. How about the wet bulb?
21.
21. And what's the difference between the two?
3.
3. Now let's see what is the relative humidity. Let me turn this off again. And it will show again on the screen. Okay. So, the dry bulb is 24 degrees Celsius. It's right here. And the difference between the two is 3. What is it?
75.
Se- 76. So that's the relative humidity based on that reading. This is the reason why when scientists take samples, they do not only take one.
They take multiple. 'Cause
They-
change.
They change. And then after getting the multiple samples, what do they do with those numbers? They add them and then they take the average. So in science, doing it once is not enough. You have to do it several times. We only did it twice, but the first one, it gave us a 92%, right? The second one gave us a 76%. So if we'll get the middle of the two, our relative humidity is 84%. This is what science is. And science, just like how they predict the weather, is not 100% accurate because we're dealing about nature. Okay? Thank you.